Chương trình này được bảo trợ bởi
Family Joy, tổ ấm y tế của mọi gia đình, 714 898 0765.
Hãy thưởng $5 meal deal tại McDonald's.
Kính chào quý khán giả của đài Little Sài Gòn TV trong chương trình Kết nối cộng đồng cùng với Tina Đỗ. Như quý vị biết thì chương trình của chúng tôi cũng như tất cả các chương trình của đài Little Sài Gòn TV thường mong muốn là đem đến những thông tin rất bổ ích cho quý vị trong cộng đồng, đặc biệt là các quý vị đang sinh sống tại quận Cam. Một trong những điều mà cộng đồng Việt Nam chúng ta thường hay quan tâm rất là nhiều đó chính là về giáo dục cho con em của thế hệ tương lai. Bởi vì truyền thống văn hóa của người Việt là lúc nào cũng hiếu học và muốn con em mình phải học giỏi, học thành tài. Chính vì vậy mà giáo dục là một phần rất quan trọng trong cuộc sống. Và vì cái lý do đó cho nên giáo trình giảng dạy trong các trường học, đặc biệt là các cấp từ tiểu học đến trường middle school và trung học thì cũng như là lên bậc đại học vô cùng quan trọng. Vì điều này cho nên là trong chương trình ngày hôm nay, Tina có hân hạnh mời được các vị khách bên cơ quan giáo dục của quận Cam, Orange County Department of Education đến đây. Và trong trường quay của chúng ta sẽ có tiến sĩ Stephen Bean. Ông là tạm gọi là tổng giám đốc của Sở Giáo dục, cơ quan giáo dục của quận Cam. Và cô Marica Manos là một người phụ trách quản lý về lịch sử và khoa học xã hội. Và cô Terry Phú là một người chuyên gia về chương trình giáo dục dành cho mô hình có song ngữ tiếng Việt và cái mô hình giảng dạy mới. Thank you so much, Dr. Bean, Marica, and Tori for joining the show today. I just give the audience an overview about we have the guests from OCDE and how important education is to the Vietnamese community. So would you please to say something to say hello to the audience?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Dr. Stephen Bean, and I'm the new Orange County Superintendent of Schools. And let's see, I've been in the role for 3 weeks now, and it seems like 3 months. That's how much information I've received, but I've enjoyed every day, just really getting to learn how much our department does in the County of Orange.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having me.
Of course, it's our pleasure. Marica?
Hi everybody, thanks for being here with us today. I'm Marica Manos, I'm the History Social Science Manager at the Orange County Department of Ed, and all that means is I support history teachers and social studies at the elementary school.
Hi everybody, my name is Tori Fu. I'm a program specialist with the Orange County Department of Education, and I grew up in Orange County and I was an educator for 4 years prior to starting with OCDE.
Thưa quý vị, chắc là quý vị nếu mà có đọc báo xem đài thì cũng nghe ít nhiều về tiến sĩ Stephen Bean. Ông là người vừa mới được bổ nhiệm vào chức vụ tổng giám đốc của cơ quan giáo dục quận Cam của chúng ta. Và một điều rất là đáng tự hào là ông được đồng thuận 100% của tất cả các thành viên trong hội đồng quản trị bỏ phiếu để mà đề cử ông vào chức vụ này, cũng như là tiến sĩ Stephen Bean là người gốc Việt, thưa quý vị. So I just shared that you are also a Vietnamese,
Yes.
100% Vietnamese, and we're so proud to have you in that position. And you were unanimously voted 100% by all the board members for this position. So it means that they trusted you, and you did a good job, and they know that for you in the position will be great for the community. So can you share a little bit about yourself with the audience?
Sure. First of all, I'm very humbled to be named as the superintendent for Orange County. Education has been a part of who I am for the last 53 years, actually. You know, I was born in Vietnam in 1971, and at the age of 2, I contracted polio, which left me from the waist down and abandoned on the streets of Saigon from my parents. So a Vietnamese orphanage brought me in and took care of me. And then in 1975, through Operation Baby Lift, the United States airlifted Vietnamese orphans to the United States to then be adopted. So I came over in 1975 as a part of that Operation Baby Lift. It was remarkable that day, though, in April 6, 1975, the day before Saigon fell. I remember just all the frantic people trying to get orphans on the plane. And it was so chaotic that my braces, my records were put on the first plane, and then I was mistakenly put on the second. And the first plane, as we know historically, took off and then it had mechanical failure and crashed. So nearly all the orphans on that plane died. And then I was successfully brought safely to the United States on the second plane.
Wow, what a story, amazing, and then how you make that. So with that, how can education become your passion
Yeah.
and your career later on?
Yeah. So my adopted mother, I was first put in a foster care with my parents, who were then to adopt me about 5 years later. My mother had a heart and compassion for the most vulnerable kids in San Diego. I grew up in San Diego. We had over 150 foster children come and go, from birth all the way up to 14. And some of those foster children had disabilities like myself, or multi-ethnic foster children. And so I learned growing up in a family of 11 brothers and sisters, there was 12 of us, we learned to really value and have compassion and care for the most vulnerable. And then my father was a 6th grade teacher, and he instilled in me this love for education, and that education would help us overcome. And he knew that I would need education to overcome my disability and to overcome the fact that I didn't speak English when I came to the United States. And he was right. And so I've held on to both things, care and compassion for our students, and education being very important. And so that's why I'm actually in education, so that we can continue providing the best education possible for all of our students across Orange County. There's over 450,000 students too. So I identify with the most vulnerable especially.
Oh, wow. It's such a nice story. I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to invite you here so you can share that with the community.
Yeah.
Tori and Marika, can you share what you're feeling about Dr. Bean, even though he's just in the position for like 3 weeks, as he just mentioned. So what was your impression about him?
So I'm leading a project on the Vietnamese American experience. So when I heard that Dr. Bean was going to be our superintendent, I thought, oh wow, our project is going to maybe get some more attention. So that was really exciting to hear as a manager who's been with the department for 5 years.
And how about you, Tori?
Yeah, I was very excited and thrilled to have Dr. Bean in the Vietnamese community, in my family. When we have that representation in these positions, it's amazing to see and to have this guidance and this role being filled by someone from the community. So it's awesome to see that our voices are still reflective of those in leadership positions too.
Great.
Yeah.
I often share with the audience that we are so lucky because we live in Orange County, where we have a lot of Vietnamese American people. And because of that, we have a voice and we can advocate for programs and services that we want the children, the next generation, to have. So, and go back to education is the root of everything, because if the next generation don't have a strong foundation of good education, that will hurt the next generation in the future. So again, so grateful to have you in that important position. And we hope that with you in that, we can do more for the community, and especially our Vietnamese American community.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So with that, next to the question, so with you just newly appointed to the position, what do you think that need to take care of right away when you take office?
Well, I think first, as part of my educational philosophy, is to see the strengths of everyone. Just as I had a 6th grade teacher, Mr. Geisinger, and he saw through my challenges of being in a wheelchair or not speaking English, and he saw the strength that I had this gift of communication, and so he wanted me to only give oral presentations the whole year. And that actually built my English language skills. And so starting in this role at the Department of Education, I take that same philosophy, is really look at the department through an asset and a strengths perspective. So I really wanted to do that first and understand all the amazing things, such as having 2 amazing people work on this model curriculum. And they work on the model curriculum for the state of California. Those are the kinds of things that I see in the Department of Ed. We are we've been in existence for over 100 years, and we serve 450,000 students in so many ways through programming, through curriculum, through support, legal advice, and all of these things I've gathered in the last 3 weeks, and I want to uplift that. So that's where I want to start. And then after that, then we can get into what are some areas that we can certainly improve on. But I want to honor and lift up the amazing people in the department first.
Wow. Okay, we will expect to see more great things, more exciting news from OCDE. Thưa quý vị khán giả, chúng tôi xin tạm dừng chương trình trong vài phút cho một số thông tin thương mại. Chúng tôi sẽ quay trở lại ngay. Xin cảm ơn quý vị.
Chương trình này được bảo trợ bởi
Family Joy, tổ ấm y tế của mọi gia đình, 714-898-0765.
Hãy thưởng $5 meal deal tại McDonald's.
Cảm ơn quý vị trở lại tiếp tục theo dõi chương trình Kết nối cộng đồng cùng với Tina Đỗ. Và trong chủ đề ngày hôm nay, chúng ta nói về chủ đề giáo dục, cũng như là có các vị đại diện của bên cơ quan giáo dục quận Cam. Và chúng ta đã chia sẻ một phần về giới thiệu những nét chung về cơ quan này. Và sắp tới thì chắc quý vị cũng có nghe trên báo đài là có một số thay đổi trong chương trình, đặc biệt là giáo trình từ cơ quan OCDE, và có một số thay đổi đặc biệt là tập trung vào các cái kiến thức về lịch sử cũng như là văn hóa của cộng đồng người Mỹ gốc Việt. So for I understand that the OCDE has been working on the new model curriculum that incorporate more of the Vietnamese American culture and history. So can you please share a little bit about that with the audience?
Yes. So we had the opportunity to hear about the Vietnamese American Refugee Experience Model Curriculum back in 2021 from the California Department of Education. And it came out through some legislation originally sponsored by Senator Nguyen. And then that legislation, that SB 895, didn't get funded. And so a couple years later, it became part of an educational funding bill. And so that funding bill, AB 167, funded 4 different model curriculum projects. And a model curriculum project is just a set of lessons or resources that teachers could use to teach about any topic. And in this particular case, AB 167 had a Vietnamese American Refugee Experiences model curriculum, a Cambodian genocide model curriculum, a Hmong history and cultural studies curriculum, as well as a Native American studies curriculum. And so we decided to consider working on these, and we were tapped by the state to lead 3 of the 4 projects, specifically the Vietnamese American Refugee Experience curriculum, the Cambodian genocide curriculum, and the Hmong history and cultural studies. The Cambodian curriculum has become a curriculum on Cambodian studies more broadly. And since 2022, we've been working on this project, and it's just been such an exciting experience.
So, Dr. Bean, about this curriculum that Marika just mentioned, what are your thoughts about that, and what would you do to continue to support this?
Yeah, when I heard about this curriculum, it really resonated deeply within who I am, obviously as a Vietnamese immigrant myself. And I was really proud that our department is writing this curriculum to really share the experiences that the Vietnamese refugees had back during the Vietnam War and toward the end of the Vietnam War, all of the 70s. And it's been quite a long time since the war, nearly 40 years, actually almost 50 years. And we want our children, our students, to continue to remember the experiences that I had and my parents may have had. And so I think that when I found out about the curriculum and heard about the great work that these 2 in particular on the curriculum, I was excited that we get to honor and we get to value those experiences of our Vietnamese, culture.
Yeah, so I know that it's takes a lot of work and collaboration in order to develop that curriculum. So can you share more about the organizations or who else that you work with in order to build that curriculum? Do you want me to talk?
I can start. So in 2022, in the first initial phases of this project, Orange County Department of Ed partnered with community organizations, writers, and scholars from the Vietnamese community to be a part of building this curriculum. And so from the beginning, we've been brainstorming and collaborating with these different partners and organizations and members of the community so that they can kind of tell us what their hopes are initially for this curriculum and what they hope to see in the curriculum. And throughout the whole process, we've been keeping a whole collaborative effort with them as well, so that when we are writing the curriculum and refining the curriculum, they're sharing also maybe edits or their suggestions on how we can best honor the community and the history. So we continue to work with them, and we've held engagement sessions where our community organizations have also reached out to their networks of groups of people too, to share with them what we've been building, and also for other community members to be a part of this process as well.
Yeah, I've heard from some other organizations like VALA or Vietnamese Heritage Museum. They share some of the work with OCDE on building this. So with that collaboration, does it help to work out, to develop such a curriculum?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I've been able to participate in those engagement sessions as well, like just helping and supporting. And when we're at those engagement sessions, the people that are there might not have heard of this curriculum in the first place, and they're offering insight and personal experiences that maybe some of them went through the Vietnam War, or they know someone, so they're giving us a different lens that we might not have seen in the first place. So it's important that we're collecting all these experiences and these stories so that we can best put that in the reflection of our work as well.
So Dr. Bean, as you mentioned that the Vietnam War is like almost 50 years ago,
Yeah.
and our Vietnamese American community started also about that time. Yeah. And education, the curriculum that we're talking about is about that part of the history, like
Yes.
focus on that. So do you think that the curriculum need to focus more on like the history of our great ancestor, of they built the country, and then until your generation? And how about the future generation? Do you think that there should be more involved or connected that way?
Yeah, I think all of those aspects are very important. And when we talk about the model Vietnamese curriculum, the intention was really to get the experiences from multiple perspectives about the Vietnam War, and certainly about then immigrating to the United States. And so that's really what the focus of this curriculum is about. And I know that Marika could share a little bit more about that. But to answer your question, absolutely. And our youth of today need to hear the perspectives all throughout the generation leading up to the war and beyond. Absolutely is very important. But for this particular case, and you can speak more on that, what was the rationale to just focus on the Vietnam War era?
Well, I think it's twofold. I think the legislation kind of set out what we could include in the curriculum. But I think for OCDE specifically, we were trying to center voices of Vietnamese Americans. Yeah. So, I taught U.S. history for many years, and what's in the history books about the Vietnam War is not centered on the Vietnamese American community. And living in Huntington Beach, growing up in Huntington Beach and living in Orange County, I just knew there was so much more to the story. So, we really tried to center the curriculum development on the oral histories that came out of the Southeast Asian Archive and Viet Stories, so then we could really center the perspectives and voices of our rich and diverse Vietnamese American community. And I think the other big piece for me personally is we saw ourselves as sort of the facilitators, right? Like we don't know the stories exactly because we didn't experience it. I know I didn't, and Tori did maybe from her family, but I think we really leaned on the sources themselves and our community members to kind of say, this is what we want, this is what we don't want. We like how you frame this. So it's been a really joyful experience.
And that's one of the things that I'm very proud about this work at the Department of Ed, is that we involve multiple voices throughout the community, because I just have one voice from my experience, as an orphan coming to the United States. But there's certainly other experiences and how they perceived or saw the war, or that whole time coming into the United States. So I'm very proud of the work that we did, this team in particular, to really reach out to just a diverse part of the Vietnamese community to get their perspective.
Yes, and also the Vietnamese American community here,
Yeah.
they come in here from different backgrounds. Like
Yes.
you as an orphan, to fly here on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they go here by boat,
Yes.
walk across the border and try to escape. Or later on, people like go under more like programs under the government. So it's just so different, and the experience also very different. And the student, they need to learn about this so they can understand better.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Thưa quý vị, chúng tôi xin tạm dừng chương trình trong vài phút cho một số thông tin thương mại. Xin quý vị đừng rời khỏi màn hình, chúng tôi sẽ quay trở lại sau ít phút. Xin cảm ơn quý vị.
Chương trình này được bảo trợ bởi
Family Joy, tổ ấm y tế của mọi gia đình. 714 898 0765.
Hãy thưởng $5 meal deal tại McDonald's.
Cảm ơn quý vị đã trở lại theo dõi chương trình Kết nối cộng đồng cùng với Tina Đỗ. Và chương trình hôm nay chúng ta đang nói về giáo trình mới của bên Sở Giáo dục quận Cam. So we've been talking about the new model curriculum. Do we know when the teacher and the student can see in the school that they can actually learn about this?
Yes, so we are nearing the end of our completion of the curriculum, so we are hoping that this will be finalized fall of 2024, and then this will be available online for educators to access, and it's all open source, and it's meant for K-12 educators. Technically, anyone can access this, and our goal is that history, social science teachers, English, world language, or even anyone, arts teachers, they can utilize this in their classrooms.
Oh, that is great. Dạ thưa quý vị, cái giáo trình mà chúng tôi đang nói chuyện thì sẽ sẵn sàng để đưa vào áp dụng từ khoảng là mùa thu năm 2024 và những năm sau. Thì rất mong là quý vị hãy theo dõi để có được những cái thông tin cập nhật mới nhất về bộ giáo trình này. So I know that like you, Tori and Marika spend time and work on this project for a long time. But with your background, like part of Orange County, you grow up here, you go to school here, and with your background as history teacher and like Tori, you involved with the work at the OCDE. Can you share more about your connection with this curriculum?
Yeah. So I grew up in Orange County. I grew up in Santa Ana School District, and growing up, I spoke the language. I practiced all the Vietnamese traditions and cultural practices, but I think as I grew up and went through the public education system, I didn't learn as much as I know now about Vietnamese history and all the experiences and resettlement over here. At home, we didn't really talk about it much, so now that I'm growing up more and I'm realizing the importance of our history and honoring and respecting and preserving the stories, I found out about this project summer 2022. And so when I learned about it, I was very intrigued and personally interested in becoming a part of it to kind of help build this curriculum and eventually build something that my future generation and our future generation can participate in and learn from their culture as well.
Yeah, I feel so grateful that you, Tori and Marika, are from Orange County, because imagine if we have the grants, we have this, and we don't have the personnel, the local personnel, and we have to invite someone from somewhere, that would not reflect who we are locally. So it's really great to have you, the local people, to participate in this. But even though there are advantages, I believe there's also challenges when we develop this curriculum. Can you share some of the challenges that you face when you work on this?
Well, I think for me, the biggest challenge is figuring out what stories to center. And, the first part of the grant was looking at, what curriculum existed. And there wasn't a lot out there. We had to lean on higher ed to get ideas, like colleges and universities. And I think, there's just so many amazing stories that even being able to narrow it down. I mean, we are from Orange County. A lot of the lessons have maybe an Orange County lens, but also making sure that it wasn't just Orange County, and making sure that this is a statewide project and anybody across the state could use it. And then it's going to be online. So really anybody in the world could use this. So, I think the biggest challenge was choosing the stories, and the benefit of the way that we envision the project is we recruited partners, scholars, organizations, community members, writers that were educators, and they helped us with that. And so it was a consensus building, and people looked at the resources that we had available. So I think that was a big challenge. I think the other challenge is also making something that teachers will use, because I think one of the big things that we heard from the California Department of Education was, well, where are the standards? Like, we use standards to teach about whatever we're teaching, like the Vietnam War or something. And there weren't a lot of standards around Vietnamese American experience. And so we said, well, that's why we have this curriculum. And so, I think that was a challenge. So we tried to come up with, ways that teachers would really use this curriculum. One of the cool things we have in Orange County is this dual immersion program in Westminster and in Garden Grove. And we hope that some of the elementaries and some of I know that in Westminster it's going to be K-9, that they'll be able to use the curriculum. We're hoping to translate it into Vietnamese. A lot of the sources were Vietnamese too. So, I mean, there's just so many opportunities, but those were the big two challenges: choosing the stories and also making sure that teachers are going to use it.
Yeah. So, Dr. Beans, listening to all of those challenges and also opportunities when developing this program, now you are in the position of the leaders. So what would you do to support, to continue for this, or also do some kind of expansion to make it more accessible to everybody?
Yeah, that's a great question. As the superintendent of Orange County Department of Education, my role will be to continue supporting certainly the completion of the model curriculum, but then as well as, I don't want to say marketing, but of course sharing this curriculum across California. And I know that we have established certain conferences to do that, and really to get the news out that we have this amazing resource for all students, not just the Vietnamese students, because certainly my 4 children, I have 4 children that they're going to benefit because they didn't get a lot of this history, but so will our other ethnic groups, because they're going to see the rich, amazing history that the Vietnamese people have. So that's my role, is to continue just really promoting that and making people aware in our communities across the state that this curriculum is available. And we will continue then to work with the different counties, continue working with the state on potentially, even future projects around such a thing.
Yeah, you mentioned that you don't want to call it marketing, but actually you do have a team of communication, which they help a lot. And personal experience, when I work with them, I say, wow, I love it, because they're so professional and details oriented and everything.
Yes.
So with them and with you in the position, I believe and I'm positive that this could be a great tool for everybody, not just in Orange County, not just in California, but everywhere.
That's right.
And we want to see this to grow and to expand more for more people and all over the world, not just in here.
Thank you. Yes, I'm committed to doing that. Absolutely.
Yes, and we are talking about the programs, how we develop that, the challenge, the opportunities. So now we are at the completion of the curriculum. Looking back to from the beginning to now, can you share some of your most exciting moment when you guys working on this?
Yeah, I think one of my most exciting moments, I mean, every day is something exciting because I'm learning something new every time.
Yes.
I think my exciting moments is just learning from the community members themselves and hearing their stories. That's invaluable, and I wouldn't be able to get that opportunity in the classroom per se unless those resources were provided to me. So being able to personally connect and hear stories of those who went through the war, who were refugees themselves, it's very, it's honoring and it's amazing to hear. Yeah.
And how about you, Marika?
As I said before, it's just been a joyful experience. And I remember the first summer we did writing with about 20 teachers. And every day it was like, I wish I had this curriculum when I was growing up. I'm so excited about this curriculum. So I like get emotional thinking about it because it's really exciting to be able to center Vietnamese American kiddos. Sorry. One of my daughter's best friends is Vietnamese American, and she didn't even know that her name was connected to a Vietnamese flower. And I said, oh, well, it's a night blooming flower, a lily, and she was so excited about it. But those moments that I can just see it with the kids, it's exciting.
Oh, thank you for sharing, and those so touching. Even though very small little detail, but it's just so real, and it touched every single person, every single soul when they know that story. Thank you. Dạ, thưa quý vị, chúng tôi xin tạm dừng chương trình trong vài phút cho một số thông tin thương mại. Xin quý vị đừng rời khỏi màn hình, chúng tôi sẽ quay trở lại trong vài phút nữa. Xin cảm ơn quý vị.
Chương trình này được bảo trợ bởi
Family Joy, tổ ấm y tế của mọi gia đình, 714 898 0765.
Hãy thưởng $5 meal deal tại McDonald's.
Cảm ơn quý vị trở lại theo dõi chương trình Kết nối cộng đồng cùng với Tina Đỗ. Và hôm nay trong chương trình chúng tôi nói chuyện với các vị khách từ cơ quan giáo dục quận Cam OCDE về những cái thông tin rất là vui về giáo trình đặc biệt dành cho cộng đồng người Mỹ gốc Việt của chúng ta ở tại Hoa Kỳ cũng như ở khắp nơi. Thì chúng tôi đã chia sẻ khá nhiều về những cái thông tin đó. Rất mong là quý vị tiếp tục theo dõi trang mạng của OCDE để có được những cập nhật cũng như sẽ tận dụng những cái giáo trình này cho con em của mình. So, Dr. Bean, I like to ask you a lot of questions because I don't have opportunity to talk to leaders like you.
Sure.
So I know that in order for us to get funding or do programs that benefits the community, it's so important that the community to raise their voice, to talk about what they want and how the government, like OCDE or other government agency could do to support us.
Yeah.
So, and the thing with our Asian Vietnamese cultures, we don't like to speak up. We don't want to go in front of the crowd to say, this is what you need to do. So with you in this position, what could you share with the audience, with the community, to encourage them to share, to advocate more for us?
Yeah, great question. So I think that I've started to see this, especially my role as superintendent of schools, is that we do have a voice. All of you have a voice. And oftentimes we forget that you make certainly a big impact in the work that our community leaders do. For instance, I know that much of this community really supported and supports its local politicians. One of them being certainly Senator Janet Nguyen, who actually heard from her constituents and heard from people like you that it was time to really uplift our Vietnamese community through this curriculum. And so she authored the bill originally, and then it added on to other politicians as well and leaders into the curriculum, the Hmong and Cambodian. And so it was because people like you that actually participate in the political process that you're able to certainly vote and elect for leaders that will represent you. And I've had the wonderful opportunity to sit down with Senator Nguyen and hear her vision around this. and as well as reach out to the others. And I think that that's important for our community to know, that if we feel we have something to share, then let's go out and be part of the political process so that we can pass bills and get funding to do these types of projects.
Great tips. I think that this would be the thing that our community need to do more, and
Yeah.
I need to do it in Vietnamese. Dạ thưa quý vị, tiến sĩ Bin vừa chia sẻ là nhờ cái sự vận động của chính quý vị, những thành viên trong cộng đồng, quý vị đã vận động với quý vị lên tiếng. Thành ra là những người lãnh đạo từ cấp tiểu bang cho đến cấp nhỏ hơn hoặc lớn hơn, họ đã lắng nghe được những cái nguyện vọng đó để mà có những cái chính sách, những cái dự luật, những luật ủng hộ cho những cái điều mà cộng đồng chúng ta mong muốn. Chính vì vậy mà chúng ta đã có được ngân quỹ, có được tiền, ngân sách để nghiên cứu và tạo thành những cái giáo trình, những chương trình song ngữ hoặc là những chương trình giáo dục khác. Chính vì vậy tiếng nói của chúng ta trong cộng đồng vô cùng quan trọng. Thành ra xin quý vị đừng có theo cái quan niệm là không có muốn gây sự chú ý và thường là thôi sao cũng được. Thì cái đó là chúng ta nên thay đổi cách suy nghĩ đó, bởi vì tất cả chúng ta ở đây mọi người đều có quyền tự do và bình đẳng như nhau. Quý vị hãy tham gia vào những cái công việc cộng đồng để có thể lên tiếng, để có được những chính sách, những luật có thể có lợi hơn cho chính quý vị hoặc là những thế hệ tương lai về sau. So I love what you just shared, that we just need to speak up, we just need to reach out and to tell people what is the best for us, because we know ourselves better. Nobody can know. So let's say we have a representative in our community who are not Vietnamese, for the Vietnamese American community. That person won't be able to understand everything, like the story you share or the background where you grow up in your family. So with that connection and with that representation, we can do great things together.
That's right.
Let's go back to the OCDE that we talk about the curriculum and the background of the information of how we come up with that. So can you share more about those organizations besides VALA, besides Vietnamese Heritage Museum? Who else, which organization that you work with to develop this curriculum?
So several additional organizations, the Southeast Asian Resource Action Center, it's a national organization. They worked with us. They were especially important on, liaising with interpreters, and they also helped us with sort of navigating framing of the curriculum and how it might land with different communities. We also are working with ICANN, the International Children's Assistance Network. They are out of Northern California, and they helped to kind of lobby and sponsor the bill up north. There's an organization called APAL, and they're outside of Oakland. They work with youth, Vietnamese youth. So we try to really connect with as many organizations through the state that were Vietnamese facing specifically. So we reached out to CAPICA, which is a California Asian Pacific Islander commission, and they helped us with a lot of different people to connect with. And then there's even more people that couldn't work on the project but will later maybe connect with us at conferences and things like that. And right now we're currently still working with Senator Nguyen to gather additional stories, so I'm sure that there will be additional community members who will participate in conferences in the future, and just so many opportunities.
So with this experience, this background, this platform that we just developed, let's say in the future, if there is a new state bill that approve another similar program for another community, then maybe we, like you, OCDE, would be more confident to work on any kind of similar project, right?
Yeah, that'd be an awesome opportunity. I mean, I feel like this could open doors for us to include other cultures in the curriculum as well, and make sure that we're all included in what the students are learning about as they grow up.
This is a great thing about Orange County, about California. We're so diverse and so many communities, and we learn so much. And the best thing is the food, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Dr. Bean, when you are in this position, I know that not just this new curriculum. There's so many programs and services at OCD that need to get the support from different kind of level of governments. So with you as a leader, can you share, how would you work with those agencies to get the resources that needed for you?
Yeah, you know, a big part of my leadership strengths is being collaborative and really leading from the heart. And what that means is to really include those people that are most affected by decisions to be involved in decisions, and so that they feel heard and so that we can be empathetic. And with that kind of a leadership, I'll be able to really reach out to different parts of our community in Orange County, but across the state as well, and develop partnerships and collaboration so that we can continue to do this type of work together. And I really believe that no matter where you are, what side of the aisle you are on, everybody has wonderful stories, everybody has wonderful knowledge to share. So let's all get together and share those stories.
Wonderful. And I wish that we have more time to talk more, but this is the end of the recording, and I would love to invite you on back to share more about new program, new exciting news from OCDE. So can you say goodbye to the audience?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, first of all. I'm humbled and honored to be here to share with you the amazing work that the Department of Ed is doing on behalf of the Vietnamese community. And I am very proud of the work that's going to come out. And so thank you for having me today.
Thank you again for listening, and we hope that you'll be able to participate in our upcoming conferences, and hopefully we get to sustain some Vietnamese traditions through many, many generations.
And thank you for having us on this platform and allowing us to share about our work that we're doing. And I'm just excited to bring this into the classrooms and lives of our future generations and continue honoring and respecting our roots.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Bean. I know
you.
how busy you are, so I really appreciate that you spent time with us today. And Marika, such a wonderful story, and we would love to have you back. And of course, Tori, without you, I would not be able to connect with all the wonderful things that OCDA does and to share with the community. So once again, thank you so much for joining our show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rất cảm ơn quý vị khán giả đã theo dõi chương trình Kết nối cộng đồng. Cảm ơn quý vị luôn luôn ủng hộ cho Đài Lý Đô Sài Gòn TV cũng như các chương trình của chúng tôi. Xin kính chào và hẹn gặp lại quý vị trong những chương trình sắp tới.